everybody, for another edition of Double Play CLE. Paul here alongside Jay. And Jay, it's been a week or so since we last spoke to the people. How are you feeling about those Guardians?
Not too great.
When last we spoke, the Guardians were a half game out of first place in the division. And for whatever reason, I'm perfectly fine with what they did at the trade deadline. But I know a lot of people aren't happy that they sold Ahmed Rosario, Josh Bell, Aaron Savale. Didn't look great to the fan base, apparently.
Is there more? Are you proving
I
it to
was
me?
hoping,
What?
yeah, that was your chance to chime in with some optimism. You're the
Well,
optimistic person out of the two of us, so figured I'd let you have it from there.
you're the one that said you were fine with it and
I
okay
am
with
fine
it.
with it. I am fine with it. I am okay with it. And the reason I'm okay with it
Um,
is that it's building towards the future for a team that didn't have a 2023 to look forward to. We said from the very beginning, when you came into this season without Tristan McKenzie, you were already in trouble. Have they outperformed themselves? No, they haven't. And every single decision that they've made, including signings and so forth, has been a bust. So we're back to where we should have been at the start of 2023, which is let the kids play.
not a huge fan of the Ahmed Rosario trade. Although, however, it does seem that we're getting something decent back in Noah Syndergaardian. He seems to be playing pretty well.
His name's
Um,
already long enough. We do not need to add to Noah Syndergaard's name.
on a realistic note, though, in my opinion, he's been pitching. Has he done? He's done two at least games that I know of. I don't know if he pitched in the last. I haven't really been watching since they've been losing left and right. I'll turn it on, and then we start losing. So, um,
His
you can't
last,
complain there. So, I mean, it's a little redundant when we had someone younger and Aaron Savale that's been with the team longer, and it's just I don't know. We probably could have got something better for that if we wanted to get rid of him, which I didn't necessarily want to get rid of him. He's playing well in Los Angeles because he's being managed well. He's playing to his strengths, which is oddly weird that we wouldn't do that here, considering that's one of Tito's biggest praises is that he plays people to their strength and he plays people well. But that's my biggest complaint with the Ahmed trade is just he's not bad. He's been playing well. However, to the other point of that, he's still messing up in the field as well. I seen him mess a couple plays up, couple errors, so on and so forth. The Josh Bell is whatever. I think we gave up early on him. I don't know. He was expensive. People say that, so whatever. I'll give you that. So that's fine. He went out and he hit that home run and had a 4-hit game in his first game with Miami. However, since then, I haven't heard anything about him. And the last time I thought that and looked him up, he was like 1 for 5 that game. So I was like, okay, well, sounds about the same thing. And then Savali's whatever, I guess. It's one of those things that I've already said whatever because I can't do anything about it. And I'm not a big fan. This is another thing I'd probably get chastised for is that I don't want to say I don't pay attention to the minor leaguers, but that's probably the easiest way to say it is that I don't. It's like it's like the draft, it's like everything else. It's cool, but people invest, all this into one person and then they end up coming up to the majors and they suck anyway. So, not saying that about the people we got. That Kyle guy, he's supposed to be really flipping good,
Kyle
apparently.
Manzardo. I am very excited about Kyle Manzardo. I think in about 3 years, maybe even two, the Aaron Savale trade will be the Kyle Manzardo trade. I think we he really robbed the Tampa Bay Rays blind for a guy that I'm going to be honest. I think Aaron Savale is going to crash to Earth like a meteor in the next 2 to 3 months. He's never been this guy, and he's not shown a consistency to expect the type of performance that you got from him in July as a permanent standard. That's why I was perfectly content. Get rid of him, get what you can out of him. We went out and got the absolute best thing we could have gotten out of him. And now it's just a matter of let's see if we can get through 2023. Can we finish strong? I I said this at the beginning of 2023. I'm looking ahead to 2024. That's where my focus is because I think the 2024 Cleveland Guardians are going to be dangerous. That's
I
assuming
think
that
the
Tristan
best
McKenzie's fine and Bieber's Bieber.
the best acquisition we really got was that Ramon guy, which had nothing to do with the trade deadline.
Ramon
Um,
Laureano.
and that Cole kid.
Cole Calhoun.
Cole, he's been, I don't know who that is, but he's been playing out of his mind.
At one point, he was with the Texas Rangers. He's had a little bit of a journeyman vibe. He's a solid player, and he's been one of those guys that is consistent and but average is the best way to put it. And that's not a bad thing, but you're not going to build a team around Cole Calhoun, and that's the problem. I like having them here now. They
I
better
don't
not
think
be
that
here in
was.
2024.
I don't think that was expected of him. What do you
And
mean? I don't know. I don't know about that. What, they better not be here in 2024. These are decent guys that we can pay small money for. I don't know what you're complaining about. That
I
seem to be
have
playing well for us.
they're playing well
But
now, but you're counting on them to maintain that level into next year, and that's probably unlikely. I have players in the minor league system that can be called
well,
up.
we let the kids play, and all they
That's
do is keep giving away the game. So I mean, maybe a little bit of veterancy in the locker room wouldn't hurt a little bit.
I mean, I have a great veteran. His name is Jose Ramirez. Apparently, he's got a hell of a right hook.
You have Jose, and that's about it. You have Jose, Andres, and that's about it. That have like any experience. Who else? And Naylor, I guess.
Need to get him back from the IL soon. Man, this team is hurting without him. Which, if you told me that was how we were going to say something we were going to say in August of this year, I'd have said we were deeply screwed.
Just Naylor has been a cornerstone. The Nailers have been a cornerstone for our franchise.
Can't argue that point. I mean, I think Bo is starting to come into his form as a catcher. He still needs more time. He needs to get acclimated to the pitchers that he's not caught in the minor leagues, and he needs to work on his game call a little bit. But you could say that about every catcher, especially a young catcher. We're asking a lot of Bo Naylor right out of the gates. And that's why I was against calling him up in the first place. Let me be clear about that. That is one of the major reasons why I was like, let's keep him down there. Because it is very difficult to catch a game, call a game, and also be expected to be a key part of the offense of the team. And we
I
are
think what
trying to,
we
we're
did
asking him
with
to do
Bo
all three.
Naylor. I think what we did with Bo Naylor is one of the few times, especially in recent memory, that the Cleveland organization has gotten something right. You just told me that you were throwing the rest of this whole year away.
Yes.
So why not bring up Bo Naylor, who's doing well in the minors? It's over. There's no reason to keep him in the minors anymore.
And at this point,
he's cracking home runs. He's hitting 4-hit games. There's no reason to leave Bo Naylor in the minors. So you bring him up, you let him do those things, you let him make mistakes in a year that you're calling a throwaway year. That's exactly what you do. That's exactly what you do because, hey, I guess the games don't matter anyway. I personally disagree a little bit with that statement. However, I share the same sentiment in the fact that this is a year that, even though I'm not going to throw it away, I'm going to say, hey, try it because Mike Zunino was shit. So, I mean, bring him up. You might as well. He can't get any worse. Cam Gallagher, while he can call a great game, I guess. People say all this shit, but I don't see anything that super amazes me. Can't hit for shit. And that was someone that really, I really, like Hedges, everyone else. But, Zunino, I even gave, he was, my problem with Zunino was not even just the average itself, but just the situations, the situational hitting type deal. But Gallagher, I can't watch him. I can't watch him at all. That dude is fucking terrible at bat. Terrible at bat. Like, so anyway, Bo Naylor's a breath of fresh air. Even though he's hitting, last time I checked, it was like 220, 240, something like that, which I'll gladly take over 110, under 100, anything like that. And on top of that, he's already got a handful of home runs, at least 2 or 3 that I can think of, right? Give me his what's his whole, how many games has he played? Give me it all.
Getting it for you right now, actually. Bo Naylor this season is batting 196 with an on-base percentage of 289. He has an on-base plus slugging of 644.
What was his on base? I'm sorry.
On base is 289. In 107 at bats, he has 4 home runs, 21 hits, 14 runs, and 14 RBI, including 1 stolen base, which is his only stolen base of his major league career.
It's got to be the simple fact that I have been watching Zunino, Hedges, and Gallagher hit because I'm like, God, I could have swore this dude was hitting for like 300 with like 20 home runs and 50 RBIs, but I guess not. But still, that's better than anything else everyone else was giving us. So I mean, I don't know. I've said it once, I've said it twice, I've said it a million times. I've said it on here, I've said it in Pittsburgh last week. You don't expect your catchers to hit 300 with 50 home runs. We can't all be Adley Rutschman. There's literally 1 or 2 catchers every single season that do that. So I mean, and we had one for like the last, like, I don't know, so many out of the last so many years. You know what I'm getting at, between the last couple, between Santana and Roberto Perez and all that junk. So anyway, I think Bo Naylor's doing great. I'm not mad at him. Homegrown talent. So again, this is his rookie season. So if he comes out next year batting 150, then we have to figure something out. But if he comes out next year batting 250, still cranking home runs, I think we're in the driver's seat.
We do need to look at the fact that as of right now, as of the time of this recording, 35 games at catcher this season. He has caught 266 total, with 253 putouts, 11 assists, 2 errors, 3 passed balls, 4 caught stealing, and 32 stolen bases. The rest of it is kind of, it's going to happen with a young catcher. But 32 stolen bases scares the hell out of me early on. We got to work on that.
How many thrown out?
Only 4.
So
he's 32 for 36.
So with Zunino, there would be 36 stolen bases.
I get that. I get where you're coming from on that. But at the same time, the catcher position has a major function, and that is to stop the run game. And he's clearly not done that. And that could be a part of the reason why the Guardians are losing.
I'm also wondering if that goes for every other catcher in the league, as the bases were just enlarged and everything else, considering the fact that I feel like stolen bases are up this year.
I'm with you on that, and I actually am going to check that right now because You mentioned a certain name. Let's just throw him into it. Adley Rutschman, who, by all accounts, has turned the
Oh, come
Baltimore
on. You're
Orioles
not. You're not.
franchise
You're not.
around.
You're not going to compare him to the all-star catcher of the
I want to
season.
see. I want to see what the All-Star catcher's doing because that's important. And you know what? You're right. In 85 games, 12 caught stealing, 49 stolen bases. So definitely more, but he's played
Yeesh.
considerably more games than Adley Rutschman. He also has 4 errors. So Adley Rutschman is proving that to be an elite catcher, you're still going to give up stolen bases, but he's got a 12 to 49. So he's caught 12 guys while giving up the 49.
I've also noticed them
The bases definitely are
completely.
playing a role.
I've also noticed, and not talking about the Guardians here, talk about games in general, that they're giving up a lot. There's a lot of times someone steals base, they don't even throw because the bases are enlarged and they're not thrown out anymore. So it's why risk throwing it into the outfield? Why you just take second? People are stealing base with 2 outs. Just take second. What am I? You know what I mean? So, Paul last week said that he hates Andres Jimenez and wants him off our team, and that he is the worst batter. He's the worst player on the Cleveland Guardians.
I didn't say that.
That is exactly what you said,
I did
actually,
not say he was
verbatim.
the worst player on the Guardians, but I did say that he seemed to be
You
phoning
said
it
he
in.
was the worst. You said he was the worst player on the Guardians. That is exactly what you said,
That is
verbatim.
not exactly what I said. That was also a week and a half ago, so you have to give me some leniency there because apparently when we went to the game and I said something horrible about Andres Jimenez, he hit a 2-run homer.
He hit a home run like last night too.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe he's finally.
He hit a home run. He hit a home run, and Hammy didn't even know if he hit a home run. He thought he got robbed. He's like, "Oh nope, it's a home run."
Maybe he's finally living up to the absurd contract that the Guardians should have never given him.
Are we doing something
Never.
different hitting wise?
I mean, the team's not good offensively, if that's what you mean. Everybody's kind of struggling right now.
That's not true. We're losing these games 9-8. We're not losing these games 8-1.
Our friends on Spotify and Apple Podcasts think that the podcast just cut out. Look, they're not a good offensive team. You can say what you want to about the scores that they're running up, but this is not a good hitting team. This is a struggling team that can't seem to figure out its identity anymore. And I think a lot of that, unfortunately, was the trade deadline and the front office saying, hey, we're sellers at the deadline, which I'm not disputing. We absolutely should have been sellers. We're not a team that can make the postseason and make a run. When you've got the battle for the wild card coming down to, hey, as long as I'm in the wild card, I get to play the AL Central winner. I'm going to have a really good chance to win. That's a concern because people are saying the same thing about us that they're saying about Minnesota, that we're going to be a cakewalk in the wild card series. That's definitely concerning.
Yeah, I mean, probably.
I don't think that the Guardians could win a single game in the wild card series in a 3-game set. I think they'd get swept in 2. And that sucks because we'd have home field advantage. It just is what it is. This division, which at one point was considered the gold standard for baseball excellence, has really taken a nosedive. And it's really tough to figure out why. Because you have all stars
Money.
throughout this. Maybe, maybe. I mean, the American League East is chock full of talent. The Yankees have paid off just about everybody they can to come on in, and they're still in last place, which is a great segue for our favorite segment here on Double Play CLE.
D's nuts. That's
You
my
know,
favorite segment.
the fact that we don't have a segment called D's Nuts with you saying that frequently is kind of impressive. But no, we have a segment called Fuck the Yankees.
And fuck the Braves.
And the Mets, too, apparently. This is a historic moment in baseball history because the Yankees and Mets have never been in last place at the same time this deep into a season ever.
Uh-huh. Well, the
That's
Mets sold.
impressive.
Well, the Mets sold though. I'm
Hard.
not. Yeah. I'm not like the Mets sold. Like that's not even. I'm not even laughing at the Mets. Like they
There's nothing to
realized
laugh
it
at.
and sold. That's what I'm saying. The Yankees we can laugh at because they're still trying and they just fucking suck. You can say what you want. You can hop in here and say, "Well, we're better than you." I don't fucking care. You guys fucking suck. You're last. I'm not last in my division. That's all I gotta say. Like I don't care. So the postseason this year could potentially not contain a New York team.
Fingers crossed.
That is the second best thing to us going to the World Series I could ask for. So I mean, like
Not only are the Yankees not
I
in,
guess I lied. That's like the third best thing I could ask for because I don't even care about the Mets. I've said that. Other than Lindor, I can say fuck Lindor individually. I don't mind the Mets. I don't see there's no reason to hate on the Mets. I don't they've never I don't
this,
know.
this is the,
I've met Mets fans and they're considerably more decent than Yankees fans.
okay, but
Even if they're from Jersey, which people will and I have family in Jersey, people will fucking tell you that Jersey's the shithole. That's the people there are just fucking shitters. Like it's the worst of the worst. Like, the only place worse than New York is fucking New Jersey. Like I don't say that personally. I'm just saying that's usually that's like the vibe Jersey gets. So personally, I would if I had to choose between the two, I feel like this would go for a lot of people. I'd take the Mets.
okay,
Just
but
like
let
if
me
I had
throw
to choose
this,
between the Cubs and the White Sox, I would take the Cubs.
okay, but let me throw this back at you. You said I can't root for the Texas Rangers because of Aroldis Chapman. So why am I allowed to let you root for the Mets?
I'm
Because of
not rooting for the Mets. I just said I don't hate the
sounds
Mets.
like you're
That's all.
sounds like you're
All I
rooting for the
said is I
Mets.
don't hate the Mets. I was gonna say because what I was gonna say that I kind of lost track of was that's not the second best thing I could ask for because the second best thing I could ask for doesn't even include the Mets. That would just be the Astros and the Yankees to not make the playoffs.
Which
But that's
the
not going to
Astros
happen. So
are currently in second place in the wild card. So they're 2 games up on last place in the wild card, which is Toronto, who's up 2 on Seattle, 3 on Boston, 5.5 back to the Yankees. So the Yankees aren't out of it by any stretch, but the Yankees run differential right now of -7, 514 to 521. That and their road record of 25-31, and the fact that they have struggled against teams under 500, there's a lot of questions with the Yankees right now.
The Yankees have had one series win since the beginning of July. That's against the Kansas City Royals. They
Which, if
swept
you're
them.
not, well, if you're not beating the Kansas City Royals, you ain't beating anybody in baseball right now. It's either Kansas City, Oakland, or who else? Colorado, and Washington. If you're not beating those 4 teams, you're probably screwed. I'm just excited for the fact that these teams could be like the postseason this year could be a lot of fun. Right now, you're looking at Minnesota versus Toronto, Tampa and Houston in Tampa Bay for the wild card series, with Baltimore and Texas hosting in the divisional series round. Those are absolutely ridiculous things to have ever guessed at the start of this season. That's why I'm not a huge fan of those prediction things. And we did one here on Believe Land Media. And as it always does, those types of predictions went disastrously poor, except for
Hey,
the one realist.
there's no 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 no. There's no like I there's no there's no way to do those predictions because it has nothing to do with intelligence. It has nothing to do with I know this team and I know that team. It has nothing to do with any of that because at the end of the day, any professional athlete will tell you this. And it's not taken away from anyone because they put in the work. They do all this, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I understand all that shit. But they're going to tell you how much luck is involved. There's injuries. There's umps. There's all this stuff that has nothing to do with what you can control. So those predictions and stuff like that. I mean, right now we're missing literally our best two pitchers. Our best two pitchers that could carry us in games that we need them for right now. Yeah, not to say that Tanner Bybee and Gavin Williams haven't been doing great, but what's to say that we don't fucking have Shane Bieber, Tristan McKenzie, Gavin Williams, and Tanner Bybee? That's something to speak about. Like we wouldn't that's a defensive onslaught. That would be something too. Yeah, our offense is struggling, but our pitching is shutting people down left and right. And then it would be okay, Gavin Williams will pitch a gem, but we still lose because the bullpen or we can't produce any runs. But it would be easier to pick him up when the next day Tristan, I don't know what the order would be because he'd probably be 3 or 4, yada 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 yada. But the next day you turn it over to Shane Bieber or something like that, and it gives you so on and so forth. But you can't. Back to the original point it's just those predictions are just I just think I agree with you. I don't want to say dumb, but they're just that they are exactly what they are. They're predictions. You can't really they're guesses. They're not even educated guesses because like I said, you're never gonna know injuries, you're never gonna know trades. You can think you know all you want, and then in the middle of the season we trade away Jose Ramirez. Well, guess what? Well, we're not doing fucking anything for the rest of the season then. So,
I was just looking at the top 6 in both leagues, and it was interesting because the division leaders all have a plus run differential. And so do the wild cards, except for one. The NL wild card, the last wild card, is currently the Miami Marlins. They have a minus 36 differential. And they're still over 500 by at least a couple games here, with the Cubs and the Reds just one game behind, beating down the door. A team like Miami could be very scary in the postseason.
No.
When they play like this with their hair on fire, that's what the postseason's all about.
It's not the postseason.
They got to get there first.
I said that at the very beginning. Weren't they the team that was going off? Weren't they the 22? No, that was the Rays. I was okay. Well, that was actually what was going to be the next thing out of my mouth. Was the same thing I said about the Rays. The Rays, the Marlins, they're nothing. They're nothing.
Would you like to place a wager on that?
I'm not worried about anyone that's not Houston. I'm not worried about any team that's not coming out of Texas. That's not I'm worried about Texas. I'm worried about Houston. And you're worried about Atlanta. That's it. Because no one's beating those 3 teams. And LA. Everyone's sleeping on them Dodgers, man. Them Dodgers are scary.
As of this recording, they're 9-1 in their last 10 on an 8-game win streak.
Yeah.
And they really put a whooping on some teams this weekend. You're right about the Dodgers. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Dodgers.
If the Dodgers win the World Series, I'll buy an Ahmed Rosario jersey. I shit you not. I will 100% buy an Ahmed Rosario jersey.
Why do you waste your money?
Teams.
Why would you waste your money?
Why?
Rosario Dodgers. Is he going to be there in 2024?
I don't even give a shit. That's not the point. The point is with that he won that year with the Dodgers. I would wear that jersey. I'd wear that jersey all over the place. What's wrong with that?
He's not a Guardian anymore.
I don't give a shit. I supported him, and I still support him. I think he got the shit end of the stick, and I think a lot of people gave him a raw fucking deal, including his manager, and how he was fucking used. So I still support him, and I'm glad he's doing great. because I freaking told y'all. I told y'all this shit for weeks.
And if you don't believe him, go back through the archives here on Double Play CLE.
Like, did I not? Did I not? Like,
No,
I
I
like him.
jokingly call you Stephen Kwan's #1 fan, but that might not be accurate. I think you might be Ahmed Rosario's #1 fan.
I'd take him back too, and I know a lot of people. I'd take him back. He was used to, and people. I've seen millions of other people say that too. Like, you know what? I don't really hate Ahmed. I just hate that he bats second every day. Me too, dude. Me too. I agree, but like, he doesn't bat second in LA.
If he batted second in LA, things would be going wrong in LA.
I'm just saying, like, no one ever asked him to bat second. Nobody was ever like, "Oh, you better put Ahmed second, or we're gonna be pissed." So I don't understand. Like, not that they care about the fans, and not even in a rude way. Like, you don't listen to the fans about how to set your lineup. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I would 100% if they you mark it now. If they win the World Series, I will buy me an Ahmed Rosario Dodgers jersey for sure.
And wear it on this show.
Oh yeah. And you know what? If anything, if we don't make it or get knocked out, whatever, I'm going 100% in on LA. 100%.
That won't be annoying at all.
The only thing that'll be rough is if it's like Baltimore and LA in the World Series. That would be rough. Because
Definitely going bird
I
lane.
do love me Baltimore. Actually, it'd actually be great for me because I'd be okay with either winner. Then I can get me a Rutschman jersey.
So, switching gears, as I was at the Ohio State Fair on Saturday, August the 6th, I believe it was. And apparently, while I was in Columbus enjoying things with my nephew and my brother, Jose Ramirez was throwing hands at Progressive Field with Tim Anderson of the Chicago White Sox. What the hell was that?
Yeah, this is a little bit of old news now.
I get that, but like,
We can
why
just
is he
fast forward. We can
throwing?
fast forward to the fact that he won his appeal.
That was even more stunning. I would have
It
thought they'd
wasn't
throw the
stunning. It
book
wasn't
at the.
stunning. It wasn't stunning to me.
He
It's not
threw the
surprising.
punch.
It's not surprising to me that it's surprising to you. 110%. Like, I could have told you were going to say those words, but I'm not shocked by it. You know what? I lied. I am surprised by it because how often does someone win their appeal? That's what I'm surprised about. Usually, they say that and what's going to change their mind anyway, but because I guarantee you. So for those who don't know, I'll give you the flash because this is old news because Paul didn't want to record about it because he doesn't like talking about this stuff. But over the series with the White Sox, nobody likes the White Sox. They're fucking scumbags. So they got their best player, who's a shitbag, Tim Anderson, is a terrible leader and a terrible player and a terrible representation of baseball. Which is
Before you can,
exactly what
before you continue,
Jose Ramirez. Come on, that was the punchline.
I get that, but that could also get us sued, and I don't want that. So allegedly,
Sued for what? Defamation?
defamation. Yeah,
Okay, come sue me, Tim Anderson. You're a
please
horrible
don't.
baseball player. I
Please
don't
don't.
know I don't know what to tell you. Um, allegedly, you're a horrible baseball player. He's bad for baseball, and that's exactly what Jose Ramirez was mad
Just
about in the
going.
first place.
You just went ham in on that too. Okay.
No, I didn't. The guy's a bad guy. Nobody likes him anyway. And he ended up. Everyone was double guessing Josh Donaldson and calling him racist, and now it's kind of like, well, okay, maybe Tim Anderson's a jackass. Like, so there was a whole thing with him and Josh Donaldson, and Tim Anderson said he thought he was like Jackie Robinson, and Josh Donaldson made fun of him and called him Jackie, and he said he was racist. Yada 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 yada. You can look it up. I don't want to go into that one and get us in trouble, but when it first came out, you kind of took Tim Anderson's side, not you as in Paul, you as in most people, because you read it and go, that does kind of sound. But then, Josh Donaldson says, you can ask my other teammates, like, that's not who I am. I was just kidding around. Like, I just want to win. Like, I'm not trying to do that. You're like, okay. Josh Donaldson's kind of a jackass too. I like the guy. I think he's a gritty player, but like he is kind of a jackass. So we'll say that. But then all this comes out, and at the end of the day, Tim Anderson was harassing the Cleveland fans. He was flipping the bird to the Cleveland fans. He was harassing Gabriel Arias, who is a rookie. For the love of God, Tim Anderson's a how many year veteran?
God, at least 3 or 4. I'm kind of
No, more
curious
than
about
that. Way more than that.
maybe, but he's still relatively
Regardless,
young in his
regardless,
career.
he was jarring at a rookie. We went to the game where the call got overturned because he pushed Rocchio's hand off the bag, which was a bewildering to not only the people in the stadium, but Chicago's broadcast as well as their fans. It's very far and few in between that you find something like this, but when a call is 100% agreed on by everyone else and they get it wrong, it's really weird. It's really, really, really weird. It makes you wonder what's happening, because when the other team's fan base is saying, yeah, dude, okay, cool, good for us, because you're always going to say that. You're always going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll take that. But
Tim
okay,
Anderson's in his 8th season, all with Chicago. I
thank you.
genuinely thought he had been. I thought he was a little bit younger, but yeah, he has definitely been around for a while.
So
Having his worst season of his career, by the way.
The whole pushing his hand off the bag thing, while he made the act, I don't think Cleveland / Jose / anyone else was really mad at Tim Anderson for that, because that wasn't his fault that the umps blew that call. That was the ump's fault. He was just playing baseball. If that worked for us, hell, it worked for us. So anyway, Jose
before
slid in.
you go into that, I do want to point out something here, because that's cheating. Plain and simple, that's cheating. It'd be no different than if he was banging a trash can at second base to let you know that it was going to be a ball or a strike. That's the whole reason why people hate the Houston Astros. So he's cheating, and he's cheating blatantly, and he got away with it.
While I don't disagree
I'm not a fan.
with that fact, that's then the ump should have called it. It's right there.
It's no different.
He wasn't hiding his cheating. He was doing it out in the open. Then the ump should have said, "Hey, you're cheating. You're out of here." He's safe, but they didn't. So I don't know what to tell you.
But it's no different.
I agree with you.
It's no different than if you had a padlock, like bolt cutters, in your hands, standing in front of a building that had been broken into, and you're standing there with the bolt cutters. You did it. Why do you have the bolt cutters? You probably used them to steal.
Incorrect, actually. The better metaphor would be that he was using the bolt cutters while the police were standing right there watching him, because that is what happened. And again,
it's blatant. It was blatant.
Who are you mad at? Who are you mad at there?
50% Tim Anderson and 50% Major League Baseball. Because the fact that they can't just look at this and go, that was wrong, and you did it on purpose, and we can blatantly see it. We have it on video. We have 27 cameras in every baseball stadium in Major League Baseball.
Being generous, I would give you 60-40, because I'm not going to say it's cheating. I think it's just playing the game. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that when he came in, he wasn't trying to push his hand off. He was just trying to make a tag, because he was coming this way. He was coming this way with it. So let's just say he wasn't even trying to push his hand off. He was just trying to make a tag. Totally. I think that's totally fair to say. At that point, the reason Tito got ejected, we're talking about the Rocchio incident here in this little sidebar into the other Tim Anderson incident. The reason Tito got roundabout ejected is because he went up to the third base ump and said, "This is all your fault anyway, because you should have called him pushing off." The whole reason that Chicago got away with it, because Chicago challenged the fact that he was off the base. which was true. He was off the base. What we couldn't challenge was that he pushed him off the base because it's non-reviewable. What Tito was pissed about that got him ejected was he was yelling at the third base ump saying you should have called that he pushed his hand off, which then makes the whole play non-reviewable, and he's safe. That's what Tito was mad about. Tito wasn't mad about the whole you got the call wrong, you this and this and that. He said you never called him as a push-off in the first place, because if you would have called it as a push-off, this all goes by the wayside.
And it created a unique situation for us now where all you have to do is swipe somebody off the bag and keep the tag on them and you're good. Robot umps for 2024. Get rid of the umpires.
Robot umps don't solve that. Robot umps only solve balls and strikes, you goofy. You sound just like all the same. You sound like the same other mad people on Twitter.
Dude, I want no umpires on the field making calls. All calls need to come from New York. That's it. We have gotten to a point where the umpires can't get the calls right. This is done. They need to be fired, and that whole system needs to be reevaluated entirely.
It's what
Angel Hernandez.
I'm gonna say.
Come on, dude.
You know what I'm gonna say, that it's really weird as far as at a professional level, umpiring, refereeing, politics, like the Senate and the House and our representatives and stuff like that, sergeants, generals in the Army. Why do all of these people have to be like 70 to 80 years old? Why do we not think that a 20-year-old could see? Let's go back to baseball here. Let's center it back to baseball. Could see better than a 60 to 70-year-old.
So that's a fair argument, and I think where it comes down to is experience. The
experience.
idea
I'll give you that.
I've seen it before.
I already knew that was the first argument. So I'm sorry. Let me fast forward that whole argument, because I knew that was the first. I should have said that before.
That's the main argument right there. That's it.
So okay.
I'm not saying that the argument is right or wrong, by the way. I'm just saying that's the argument.
That's fine. I'm going to give you the other side to the argument then. So these people. Well, let's talk about a 25. Let's talk about a 30-year-old. Because how old is the black bald dude? He's like I don't want to say light skin, because he's like medium skin tone.
We're talking about one of the umpires?
Yeah. He usually plays home plate a lot. You see him a lot. I see him like as much as I feel like I hear about like Angel Hernandez. He gets strikes wrong a lot of times.
That sounds like CB Buckner.
Yes, that's exactly who that is. Yes. How old is he?
I can get you that. CB Buckner is 60 years old.
How old is Angel?
Oh, God.
And then give me one more that's
Angel Hernandez is 61.
Give me another one that's popular that you know off the top of your head. Are you having trouble thinking of one, or?
Pretty much, and that's actually the greatest compliment you can give to an umpire. I can't remember who the hell you are. Ted Barrett comes to mind.
I don't know any of the umpires' names, which, I mean, I guess you're not really supposed to, but
that's the whole point. And if you know these guys, they're doing something wrong.
Yeah, that's very true, because you shouldn't care about them, right?
I shouldn't know who any of these guys are.
We shouldn't be having a discussion about the umpires. We should be discussing our team. But anyway,
Angel Hernandez should be gone. This guy is so bad at his job that if he actually got better, he would only suck at his job. He's that bad.
I do want to finish my thought that, you want to say that, experience. Completely understand that. I do get it, because that's why you give someone like a coaching job. You notice how I didn't say coaches, because I think when you're talking about coaches, I'm not talking about playing the game. I'm not talking about my reactions, my reflexes. You're just coaching. You're using your experience. That's what coaching is. It's literally using your experience to teach and so on and so forth. Again, notice I didn't say coaches. But when we're talking about umps who got to keep up with the game, now baseball umps probably have to be, and again, this is no slight or no shade, but probably the least athletic because they don't have to run up and down a whole lot like a lot of the other referees or do for other sports like football. They're running all over the place. Basketball, them mofo's got to be in the best shape because they're up and down that court that whole damn game. Same with soccer refs, football. Anyway, a 25-year-old. You're telling me because he doesn't have as much experience as a 50, 60-year-old. You're correct. You're right. How much experience, years-wise, do you think a 25-year-old has? If he's trying, if we're questioning if this person is good enough to umpire for the Major League Baseball, how much experience do you think this 25-year-old has?
Less than 2 years at best. Probably 0.
Probably 25 years of experience.
If he's 25 years old?
Correct. You don't think that these people that are playing at a professional level, that are umpiring at a professional level, that are coaching whatever at a professional level, haven't been doing this their entire fucking life?
That's an interesting thought.
How many people live, maybe not 25 years. So if you're 25-year-old, I guarantee you.
Out of the womb. Strike.
2 years old. How many people do you know, like maybe not personally, but how many people do you know you see them on Twitter or you see these athletes and stuff like that and their kids playing baseball, T-ball already? And okay, you're going to say T-ball, but guess what? When you learn it when you're 2, 4 years old, you never forget it and you play it every single day. So yeah, you're right. You probably do have plus 20, 30 years experience on me. But guess what? At the same time, your vision's also probably shittier. I'm just saying, like, you think you're going to tell me experience is going to be the difference between calling balls and strikes? And no, again, no shade. I know there's a lot more knowing the rule book, all that junk, and I probably could never do it, to be honest. But people hating you got to deal with that. All the yelling and screaming and yada, 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 so on and so forth. You think I'll give you that actually as a point. I'll talk myself into a point against myself that a 50, 60-year-old probably knows how to conduct themselves more diplomatically and better for the company image and so on and so forth than a 20, 30-year-old. But still, that's just little rant, little side just thought. Like I would totally understand how most people, even me being a 30-year-old, would it's hard to say because, for all the calls they get wrong, there's 20 they get right. But whatever. Your thoughts?
So there's this really handy social media platform, scorecards.
Yeah, I see the thing where it shows,
Yes.
the like percentage and stuff like that about how they like call and stuff like that.
Angel Hernandez is so bad at this job that if we took Angel Hernandez's performance and put it in another line of work, let's say doctor. If Angel Hernandez were your doctor, you would die before you made it out of the ER. He is that bad. If he were a baker, his cakes would explode before they made it to the oven.
The real question is, if you're that bad, why do we still allow it?
Because he's suing Major League Baseball. There is an active lawsuit. He is claiming racial discrimination.
I thought he lost that.
No, it's still pending. And he's been out due to injury. That's why he's been out. He is healed. And I say this with respect to anybody who's ever been injured. Unfortunately, he is healed because he's back doing worse somehow than he already was. So again, taking his work and putting it in another field of work. If he were a fireman, he would be lighting the buildings on fire. We need him gone because he is part of the reason why I have been on the robot ump train for the last year now, because he is so egregiously bad that everybody else looks better by default.
I don't want robo-umps.
You say
I
that.
think it's part of the game, and yeah, I say that, and yeah, I
I
get
used
pissed
to
off
say
when they
that
miss it
too.
when they and I get pissed off when they miss a call for my team. I get pissed off when they were giving the Twins the game the other day. I do, but it's part of the game. I don't want
But it
robo-umps. I
shouldn't
really
be.
don't.
It
Get
shouldn't
over
be.
it.
It's a black
Get
and white
over it.
thing.
Then throw it down the middle, puss. Then throw it down the middle, and I'll give you a strike. Then throw it down
Good
the middle.
God.
I'm serious. Like, get over it. Like, then throw it down the middle. I'll give you a strike. And
What?
I mean that. And that goes for the other side of the argument. Like, maybe I don't want you freaking throwing it all around the box the whole damn time. Throw a strike. I want to see you crush it. I don't know. Like, I'm just arguing the other side. I don't know if I really believe all that, but like I don't want robo-umps. I do say it sometimes, but I know that if I sit down and I think about it with a calm mind, I don't. It's part of the game. It is, and I just don't want it. And and I'm here for I was pissed the other day when they got that call wrong. I was pissed. I was there. But we won the fucking game. We got to give them the middle finger and go home and win. Like, you know what I mean? So that made it even better. That made it even better. And then the social media went out and said replay overturning this one. Like that made the game better. If we would have lost, it would have made it shittier. But it made it better.
Oh my God.
But tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
If it
That
had just been gotten right, we would have not needed a 2-run homer to win the
if
game.
they would have gotten it right, and then dude hits a pop out. But he got it wrong. Tito got ejected. A whole thing went off. Then we hit a 2-run home run. And we got to tell the umps and who was it, the White Sox? To suck
Yes.
it. I'm just saying.
Would you
Like
like that to be a segment in the future?
if you're giving me those two options, I'm gonna take getting the call wrong. Yeah, give me the call wrong and let us win anyway. That's awesome. The only thing that's not awesome about it is it robbed Rocchio of his first ever extra base hit in Major League Baseball. That is the only part about it that sucks because I don't want to take away from my boy's stats.
And to be fair, it was a great hit, and he hustled the whole way to get
Yeah, that was
that double.
it's I don't know, it was a little rough. Anyway, we got off track because we never ended up actually finishing the whole Jose Ramirez thing because we went on the big Rocchio part, which is a big part of the story because going back into that, a lot of people actually I'll finish it first and I'll talk about that because I keep going off on tangents. Tim Anderson was being a menace. He was being an a-hole to our team. And as quoted by Jose, he was disrespecting the game of baseball. Jose Ramirez hit a liner down into the corner of first base, and he slid into second. And as he was sliding in, this is just I'm just gonna what was said. I'm not saying this personally or what I saw. This is what's said is that Tim Anderson slammed the tag down on his head pretty hard, which is what a lot of people saw. That's what a lot of people. That's why Jose was pissed because he tagged him real hard, which is not. I'm sure a factor. It was probably the straw that broke the camel's back, but it wasn't the reason that Jose got up and decided to throw hands. So then Jose got up and got in his face and probably told him, "Dude, I told you to stop doing that shit. I'm sick of it." To which Tim Anderson, I will give you phase by phase because some people seem to be confused as to what happened at which timing. And this is me being completely unbiased because at this point I mean it. I'm just speaking about what I saw. Jose got up, put his finger in his face, did not touch him. Got pretty close. Did the whole "I'm not touching you. I'm not touching," but he did. But he got pretty close. Wagged his finger in his face. Tim Anderson said blah 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 something. Probably Jose probably called him a bad word in Spanish. Tim Anderson said, "Come on," and he threw his glove down with the ball. It was still like I don't know if the play, if it was everything was still in play at that point because he had the ball on him,
That's
and
up for a question there.
he threw his gloves down, and Tim Anderson squared up his fists. There's no arguing that. I don't know if anyone wants to. I don't think anyone is, but you can go watch the video. And Tim Anderson clearly threw down his glove and put up his fist first. To which Jose also put up his fist. Jose did a little dance and said, what's going on? What are you going to do? To which Tim Anderson threw 2 punches at him. Also very clear as day. Jose did not want to fight, in my opinion. That's what I'm seeing. He said, okay, if you're going to fight me, I'm going to fight you. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and just get fucking knocked out because I told you to quit acting like a baby and quit, jarring all the time. So then they go back and forth. There's like 5 punches total that landed. And Tim Anderson hit him once or twice in the body or something like that. And Jose ducked him and was getting pulled away by Kopech. And he cracked him in the jaw and knocked Tim Anderson to the ground. Everyone wants to say the word knockout loosely. Whatever you want to say. The dude got knocked down and the dude could not stand on his own. That is a great indicator of whether someone is knocked out or not.
If it were boxing or MMA, he would have been declared down.
That's what a lot of people said. They said if it was boxing or MMA, it would have been declared a TKO. He couldn't stand up on his own. That's a TKO. If you can't get back up, that's a technical knockout. Which is not what I'm here to debate. It's really not. It happened, and all I have to say about it is, because I've said enough about it already, is that I completely stand by Jose. The whole city of Cleveland stands by Jose. Jose Ramirez got ejected from that game, which was the best part about it, because the dude stood at second base for like 2 hours after it all happened. Not 2 hours, obviously, but like, dude, like, you're obviously ejected. You might as well get out of here. Like, you're obviously not staying in the game. The bench is cleared. There's a whole yada yada. Tito and the manager went at it on the mound, to which Tito got ejected, and then Starball went at literally the rest of the coaches in the Chicago dugout. Tim Anderson re-entered the field. Clase threw some punches at someone because he ran up into the scrum, whatever you want to call it, and he got pulled off by Kopech, and I think that pissed him off a little bit. He shoved Kopech, and Kopech shoved him, and then there was like a punch or two thrown. So everybody got a game, being Tito, Sarbaugh, Clase. I'm pretty sure Kopech got one too. Arias got a fine. Tim Anderson got 6 games, and Jose got 3 originally and was appealed and overturned to 2. Now, that's the part I want to talk about, is the appeal. Jose is a shining example of what the MLB wants in a baseball player, and you can't tell me anything different. He is a Class A act. He's great with the kids. He's never been caught in any outside domestic disputes, any drug abuse, any PED abuse. No, he's always there with the charities and with his team and stuff like that. And going even more, this was his first time ever being ejected out of a baseball game. He never argues any calls. You never see him argue anything, which in my opinion is probably why he won the appeal. They went to it. They looked at everything. They went to it. They looked at everything originally, and you see that Tim Anderson started the fight and threw the first punch, which everybody and their mom is always going to say that person should get in trouble first. But everybody that knows how punishments in sports and everything else goes, that's usually not how it goes. Usually they just get the same. They don't want violence, period, so they fine you both the same. But I think this was an exceptional case. I think you look at Jose and you say exactly what I just said. This dude's never caused any problems. This dude's never fought no one. He's never been ejected. He's never been ejected one flipping time. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot to say. He never argues any calls. He doesn't. He just says, okay, I'll get you next time. Okay. Like, he doesn't. So I think they seen that. They originally said 6 for Tim for acting crazy. So he did slap the tag. He did square up, and he did throw the first punch. And Jose acted in self-defense. Fine. 6 games for him, 3, and we'll give Jose half. And I think Jose appealed it and said, hey, that's fine. I think I do deserve, because he also, on top of it all, has reached out publicly to Tim Anderson, has apologized numerous times for his actions, has gone on the record saying that he only did it because he drove him up a wall with disrespecting the game after he told him to already cut it out once or twice, and he kept doing it, and he couldn't take it anymore. And when he said something, he squared up with him. So he said, "What am I going to do? Just sit there and get hit? No, I'm going to fight back." And I think he made that appeal and said, you can't. I'll take a punishment because I do deserve one, which is probably what he said. I 100% think that's probably what Jose said. But he said, but I think it should be, one. I don't know if he said one game less or who knows what, but I just, I'm surprised he appealed it. I thought the 3 games was a win, already being half as much as Tim. So to be honest, I don't know if you can read that anywhere or get that anywhere, Paul, but that would be something interesting to read about as to why he got 1 game less or what happened.
That's probably never going to be public knowledge for whatever reason. Major League Baseball doesn't really do a whole lot on appeals. I'll say this about the whole situation. When I finally heard about it, because keep in mind, I had been off the grid, essentially.
Yeah.
I was away. I was stunned that it happened, amazed that it happened to Tim Anderson. And then when the suspensions came down, shocked is the best way to put it, that it wasn't as long as I was expecting. I was expecting 7 days. I was expecting both Tim Anderson and Jose Ramirez to get 7 days, and that was going to be the end of it. Major League Baseball has a clear stance that they don't want any on-field altercations, and they have done their best.
It's for the kids.
And that's the problem. What was happening on that night in Cleveland? It was Rockin' Blast, the biggest fireworks show of the year, and you're not taking a whole bunch of adults
there
to
were
that.
fireworks, all right.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But you're taking kids to that event. And the kids watched Jose Ramirez drop Tim Anderson like he was Muhammad Ali. That's not good for the game of baseball.
And don't forget to add into the fact that the stadium went absolutely insane.
Oh, it was great for the city of Cleveland.
And broke into a Jose chant.
Apparently, it has sold more T-shirts than ever in the history of local T-shirt printers. GV Artwork has one out. Where I'm from has one out. There's one for every local T-shirt printer that you can find. Most of them saying "Down goes Anderson," because at some point, Tom Hamilton went from being a baseball announcer to being a boxing announcer, and apparently is pretty damn good at that too. Shocker, he's a great announcer. He needs to be the Hall of Fame award recipient, the Ford Frick Award in 2023-2024. Get on that, Cooperstown.
You want to talk about the most shocking part about the fight? It was probably that.
Yeah.
I never expected that call. I expected Hammy to, he's usually pretty diplomatic, but I think, to be honest, I think he was just calling it. I don't even think he was thinking about it. And it's just when you see, that's what I think speaks a lot for going back to the appeal and everything like that. That is not Jose. So to see Jose, you're like, oh my God, what in the hell is happening? Like who pissed off Jose enough for him to be throwing punches? Like,
I feel like Tim Anderson said something at second base that finally sent Jose off the deep end. I'm not defending Jose. I think he should have been suspended 6 to 7 games because he did punch the man and knock him absolutely out cold.
He was defending himself. What are you supposed to do, Paul? You're supposed to sit there and get hit?
That's not the way it works.
You're supposed to sit there and get hit? It is the way it works, because guess what? That's what happened, bucko. So you're literally wrong. That's not the way it works. And I'm not going to sit here and listen to that. And then I'm glad he did it, because that's not the way it fucking works. You don't just get to sit here and fucking hit me. And he hit him back, and he got suspended, and he went and said, I want less. And they gave him less. Don't sit here and say that's how it's supposed to work. Because that's wrong. That's wrong. If you want to tell me that he should have been suspended 7 games because he incited violence at a children's game, I will even give you that. But to say that's the way it works, no, dude. He got hit. What is he supposed to do? He got up and told him, stop fucking doing that. I told you to knock it off. And the dude squared up his hands with him. What are you supposed to do? Run away? And then get tagged out? That's even worse. That's even worse. I'd rather,
To
no,
be fair,
hell no. Like,
to be fair, he did drop the glove. I think at that point the play was dead. I don't know
what
for
are you
sure.
supposed to do? What was he? And that arguably,
My
you know what?
argument is,
I might
where
have
were the
answered my.
umpires and all that?
He
That's their
backed
job.
away.
Well, no, what the umpire's job is to get in the middle of that to stop that. You want to defend the umpires? That's another reason to get rid of them. You didn't do your damn job. Your job is to diffuse on-field altercations, and you did shit.
Great job, ump. Great job, ump. Best ump I've seen in a while.
Let
it happen.
I would suspend.
And I guarantee you,
I would suspend the entire umpire crew because that whole series was an absolute disaster.
you're
officially.
a maniac. You know that, right? So you're
I'm-
telling me.
I'm
you're
looking
telling
at-
me you're not supposed to defend yourself. As a third party, you're supposed to stand in the middle and get your jaw broken because two other grown men that sit there and lift probably more than your fucking body weight are throwing hands at each other. Are you insane? Do you listen to yourself? No, because the Major League Baseball probably is more concerned for their safety. Oh, so now not only is Tim Anderson hurt, now we have a hurt umpire too. Boy, who's got to pay for that?
Do you
gotta pay
think
for them?
Do you think Tim Anderson or Jose Ramirez would have thrown the punch if the umpire was in position to break them up?
Yes. Did you not see them still throwing punches as there's people in between them in the middle of the mob anyway?
They're players. They don't care at that point. They're players.
Okay. Well, I don't understand what
if
I don't
an
understand what
MLB
your point is.
official is in between them, that's different because they know they are in trouble. Their players coming out, oh, well, he's just coming to back up his boy. I got to make sure to throw more hands. That was a disaster for Major League Baseball. They should be absolutely ashamed of themselves, first and foremost of all. The entire MLB umpire crew of that game needs to be reevaluated. Because, number one, this is the same crew that got the call wrong that caused all of this consternation with Tim Anderson in the first place in the Friday game. I wonder if that even let's just look at it from a hypothetical here. If that play doesn't happen on Friday, does this happen on Saturday? Because it was
It's not
an
just
obvious
that play.
continuation of that particular moment.
And on top of it all, this play wasn't even mentioned out of Jose Ramirez's mouth. Just everyone else speculation. Jose said he was tired of him disrespecting the game, and he's told him that. He's making a mockery out of baseball.
Making a mockery out of baseball is swiping somebody off the base to make a tag. That's a mockery.
You think out of literally anyone on this fucking earth would respect someone for defending that? It would be you. And you think out of anyone on this earth would want to say, that's my third baseman? It would be you. And here you are saying he should have got suspended 7 days. We cheers to that. We love to hate on our own team.
I said the same thing about Tim Anderson. Tim Anderson should have been suspended longer. As I have been looking up, because I was curious, as of right now, he has not served that suspension. I have not seen
it too. They
I have not seen anywhere that he's served a single game. And to be perfectly honest, how can you appeal that and expect to win? You threw down your glove like it was a hockey fight. I don't know what leg Tim Anderson has to stand on unless he's going on the argument that Jose said something to him that was absolutely horrifying.
Or touched him first with his finger. I don't know.
And if that were the case, we would already know about it because there were other players on the field within earshot of that play. Nobody has mentioned anything about what was said on the field, so I don't think it was that bad, to be honest. And I think that's where my argument is. I think this was an overreaction that wasn't necessary. And it led to something that we didn't need on both sides.
What? Both sides of what?
Did Tim Anderson come down hard on top of Jose? Yes.
Okay.
Did Jose need to go in underneath him, feet first, at second base?
Feet first.
No, he did go under him feet first.
No, he went head first.
I watched the play.
You're wrong. You're 100% wrong. That's how he got tagged. He went in head first. That's how he knocked
He
his
went
helmet off because
underneath
he
of him.
smacked him. Yes, he went underneath of him because Tim
He went
Anderson's legs
underneath
were.
of him feet first and came through the other side. He
You're
came
wrong.
through his
You're
legs.
wrong. You're wrong. Look it up right now. You're wrong.
I'm
He
not
went in
looking it
head
up right
first
now. We're almost out
because
of
you're
time
wrong.
anyways.
Because he went in head first. No, because you're wrong. And I knew you were going to try and corner me about this shit. You're wrong. He went in head first. He went in head first. And that's why he got smacked on the head, Paul. He smacked him on the head as he was sliding in and knocked his helmet off because he went in head first.
We'll have to agree to disagree.
There's nothing to disagree about. He went in head first. That's not
We
like
are
that's
almost out of
not an
time.
opinion. No. There's no timer on this, and I'm aware of that. This isn't an opinion. This is a fact. He went in head first. I don't know what you there wasn't any wrong from Jose. He got smacked like let me come over there and smack you in the back of the fucking head and you say nothing. You say nothing to me. I'm just gonna and you're just okay. Oh, okay. No, I told you to cut that shit out. That's exactly what he said. That's substitute a couple of words, but that's exactly what he said. He got up and said, I told you to cut that shit out, dude. How many times did I tell you to stop fucking doing that shit? That's exactly what he said. And Tim Anderson got pissed off because he's having a shitty year on a shitty team and he sucks, allegedly. So he threw down his glove. And tried to fight Jose, and all Jose did was defend himself. I don't think there's an argument against that. Jose took like 3 punches before he hit him one time. And to be fair, he was getting pulled away. God knows if he would have been solid and hit him with that punch.
So if that same scenario happened on the corner of Carnegie and Ontario instead of inside the ballpark on Carnegie and on
We'd never
Ontario,
have to hear about it.
both men go to jail. They at least are staying overnight.
No, they're not. No, they won't.
You think they're both going to? I'm talking regular scenario. They don't make a shitload of money.
I hear
They're
you.
going to be held for processing.
Regular scenario. Nobody gives a shit. They're gonna pull them off each other and say, "Get out of here." Oh, regular scenario. No one's getting arrested because they threw a couple. I'm so serious. No one's getting arrested because they threw a couple punches. So
if the police are watching this happen, they don't come in and go cuff him and take him. Because that's what the MLB umpires are. They are the police.
No, I hear you. I still don't say they cuff him. They might, but I still don't. The couple of punches that were thrown, they might just hey split it up. What happens at a bar? People start fighting. They don't just get arrested.
That's because the police aren't just standing there watching.
Yes, but the bouncers are, and that's more what an ump is than the police. They don't have all the power in the world to say, hey, you're under arrest or anything like that. But the bouncer is supposed to get in between, just like you were saying, and get them away from each other. You don't just call the police because a couple dudes threw a couple punches. You don't. But like, I see your point about the police standing there. Yeah, they'll probably, Saturday night if they're drunk, yeah, probably throwing them in the back of the squad car, taking them away, probably throwing them in the drunk tank for the night. Throwing them in the drunk tank for the night. Just like Jose is throwing in for 2 nights. Makes perfect sense to me.
My God.
My last sentiment is just that I just don't think, and you said it yourself, I don't think Tim Anderson has a leg to stand on. I don't see there being a side for Tim Anderson at all. And there wasn't until everyone started feeling bad for him because the dude's life is going in the shitter all of a sudden. He gets hit by a pitch the next day, and the dude's like, first of all, I don't know if you've seen this, but I think the dude was lying. Because the dude gets hit by the pitch in the arm, right? And he's walking to second base, and he's like, oh. Bro, you just got hit in the arm. What is going on here? And you pass concussion protocol, or concussion, hello. You pass concussion protocol. So, like, I didn't. He was like, did you see that?
I didn't see that.
He got hit in the arm. Maybe it was in the back, but somewhere it wasn't in the head or like broke a bone or anything like that. And he started walking to first, and he was like, oh, like he's gonna fall over or something. Like And he like stopped. And he like keeps walking. They're like, oh, there's something wrong with that guy. Like, yeah, he's mental. That's why. Like, I just don't think the dude's obviously he's been a menace. I'm on Twitter, obviously, X, whatever, Paul, talking about this because Paul and Jeff wouldn't answer me for, like 48 hours. So I'm on there arguing with everybody else. And I'm getting called racist because I'm defending Jose because I called Tim Anderson a menace. I'm like, dude, what? Like, first of all, how are you going to call me racist as a white guy defending the Puerto Rican versus the black guy? Like, I don't even know how to begin dissecting that. But more beyond that, like, I don't think it has nothing to do with them being black. It has everything to do with the way the dude acts. I just said the same thing about Josh Donaldson. He's a jackass too, but like Tim Anderson draws attention to himself. You're right. I'm blabbering on. I can see it in your eyes. I don't think there's an argument for Tim Anderson. That's the last thing I have to say. I don't.
That's fair. I think ultimately MLB would love for this to go away. I know they have a lot of things that right now they would like to go away, like the fact that Wander Franco might be a horrible human being. That's just the way it is, unfortunately. And
The
Major League
last thing you're
Baseball.
going to bring up before we end this video?
Well, I was going to do my one thing, of course, but ultimately,
Fuck the Rays.
and any of if any of the Wander Franco stuff is true, there are a lot of problems that need to be sorted out, and we probably won't be seeing Wander Franco again in Major League Baseball because I can't see a
Yeah,
way that he recovers from this.
he'll probably be sitting next to Velveteen Dream.
Good Lord. That really was a wild way to end this one. So, we come to the end of the show, and as you know, we like to end our shows with a bit of positivity. Something positive that could happen in the next 7 days, a prediction, if you will. I'm not good at this, apparently. None of my predictions have even come close. So I'm going to defer to the expert in this, which would be you, Jay. What is your my one thing that could happen in the next 7 days?
I wanted to go for something little, but we definitely need something like medium to big. So I'm going to go with back-to-back series wins. We could definitely use that.
Oof. That's a bit of a bold ask, don't you think?
Nah, we were doing it earlier in the season. We were like on a 5-series win streak.
While I get that, you're looking at a 2-gamer in Cincinnati. Cincinnati is in the hunt, and they're
Okay,
trying
well
to win those games.
I'm gonna disclude Cincinnati since it's only 2 games.
And a 4-gamer at home against Detroit.
Easy. Oh, that's easy.
I'm not saying that it's easy.
So who's after Detroit?
The Dodgers.
Back-to-back series wins.
Oh my
Where
God.
at?
Here.
Oh my God, really? We're gonna have to go to one of those games so I can clap for Ahmed.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the 22nd through the 24th.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say Monday or it's just Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
Tuesday through Thursday. It's a very weird time to have scheduled
What
the
days?
Dodgers in town. Tuesday through Thursday.
I know what dates.
22, 23, 24.
I don't think I'll be able to go unless I sacrifice some sleep, which I might. Because I know all you fucks are going to be booing Ahmed. You're just mad that he's doing good.
And then it's a road trip to Toronto and Minnesota. And then a trip to Toronto and Minnesota to round out August, the dog days of summer.
I'm just going to buy the jersey now.
You can't do that yet. He
I
hasn't
can do
earned
whatever
it.
the fuck I want.
What?
What do you mean what? I buy whatever jersey I want. I think I am going to get that, actually.
Okay, I guess I can't stop you from that, but I would encourage you to use your money wisely.
I don't care if he's there or not. I want a Dodgers jersey anyway. I don't dislike the Dodgers. I don't like them. I don't dislike them.
So you
I
nothing
like
them?
Freddie Freeman. No, like if they were pretty much like when they won the bubble championship, I was like, eh. Whoever they won against, I wanted the other team to win. I remember that. Or
I
maybe
think it was
not.
Houston. Was it Houston?
I was gonna say, I was just thinking that. I was like, I don't know. I remember not caring about that one.
Yeah, the bubble World Series, I kind of wasn't.
Which if it was Houston, that makes a lot of sense that I would not care about Houston versus LA.
No, it might have been Tampa.
But now, like I said, LA, I like Ahmed, so I have reason to root for LA now. So is Owen Miller still in Milwaukee?
Yes, Owen Miller is still in Milwaukee.
I thought someone else went to LA. All right.
My one thing, you might have noticed that I'm wearing a Stand Up to Cancer t-shirt. I've been a big proponent of Stand Up to Cancer since it was founded. And this Saturday, they're going to have a huge telethon where they're going to hopefully raise a lot of money to accelerate groundbreaking cancer research. You can donate at Stand Up to Cancer. I don't want to sit here and tell you the whole story about STUC, but I think if you're anything like me or Jay, you would love to see another disease eradicated off the face of the earth. And Stand Up to Cancer has done great work in making donations to help fund research that is getting us a lot closer than we ever have been. I've dealt with cancer in my family and with a great number of my friends. I'm sure you have as well. If you have the opportunity, tune into the telecast. It's going to be on all four of the major networks, ABC, Fox, CBS, and NBC, on Saturday at 8 p.m. And you can also go online and check out more information there. Again, not saying that this is affiliated with Believe Line Media, so please don't construe that. That's me personally, and that is my personal time on my one
Hey,
thing.
Kev.
Just thought I'd do some good for the world, because God knows we need some good in the world this time around. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode of Double Play CLE. Would you say it's been exciting?
It has been exciting.
We didn't even get to talk about our trip to Pittsburgh. Maybe we'll do that next week with our buddy Jeff.
Maybe.
But for Jay, I'm Paul. We will see you again. This has been the 13th edition of Double Play CLE.